What if I told you that there was a footballer who walked away from $71 million just to come home? From the beaches of Santos to the bright lights of Paris, from record-breaking transfers to devastating injuries, Neymar Jr. has lived through one of the most incredible roller coasters in football history. But his latest decision to terminate his contract with Saudi Arabian giants Al Hilal and sacrifice an astronomical fortune might be his most shocking move yet. However, how did the boy who was supposed to inherit Pele's throne end up making such a dramatic choice? And why did he deliberately choose to abandon millions just to return to where it all began? Well, to find out, we have to go back to February 5th, 1992, in Mogi das Cruzes, Brazil, when Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. was born into a football-obsessed family. His father, Neymar Santos Sr., had been a professional footballer himself, but his career was cut short by injury. Yet, this devastating setback would prove to be young Neymar's greatest blessing, because Neymar Sr., understanding the pain of unfulfilled dreams, was determined to give his son everything he never had. The family lived modestly, but football was their escape. By the age of 3, little Neymar was already showing signs of something special. His close control, his balance, his ability to make the ball dance at his feet. It was as if he had been born to play. At just 7 years old, Neymar joined the youth academy of Portuguese Santista. His coach, Batinho, would later recall, "I've never seen a kid with such natural ability. He would dribble past 5, 6 players like they weren't even there. But what impressed me most was his hunger. This boy wanted to win every single game, every single drill." But success wouldn't come without sacrifice. The Neymar family faced a crucial decision when their son was just 11 years old. Santos FC, the legendary club of Pelé, wanted to sign the young prodigy. However, there was a catch. They would have to relocate 30 miles away to Santos, leaving behind their entire life in Mogi das Cruzes. Yet, for Neymar Sr., the choice was clear. This was his son's chance at greatness. On July 15, 2003, 11-year-old Neymar officially joined Santos Academy. The pressure was immediate and intense. Everyone knew about this kid from Mogi das Cruzes. Everyone expected magic. However, could a young boy really handle such enormous expectations? Well, Neymar didn't just handle them, he exceeded every single one. By 15, he was already training with Santos' first team. By 17, he had made his professional debut, scoring his first goal just a week later. But it was on May 15, 2011, that the world truly witnessed something special. In the final of the Campeonato Paulista against Corinthians, with Santos trailing 1-0, Neymar will produce a moment of pure genius. Receiving the ball 25 yards from goal, he would skip past 3 defenders before curling an unstoppable shot into the top corner. Santos would go on to win 2-1, and Brazil had found its new superstar. Neymar said, "That goal changed everything for me. I realized that I could compete against anyone, at any level. I wasn't just a kid from Santos anymore. I was ready for the world." But the world wanted Neymar long before he was ready to leave Brazil. Real Madrid offered $45 million. Chelsea bid $40 million. Manchester United, AC Milan, Bayern Munich. Every elite club in Europe was circling. Yet, Neymar made a decision that shocked everyone. He stayed. Why? Because his dream wasn't just individual success. It was to achieve something no Brazilian had done since 1962. Win the Copa Libertadores with Santos. And in 2011, that dream became reality. Neymar scored 6 goals throughout the tournament, including a crucial strike in the final against Uruguayan giants Penarol. At just 19 years old, he had brought South America's most prestigious trophy back to the home of Pelé. However, this triumph would also seal his fate, because now, there was nothing left to prove in Brazil. On May 26, 2013, Barcelona announced the signing of Neymar Jr. for an initial fee of €57.1 million. The boy from Santos was heading to Europe, ready to form what many believed would be the greatest attacking trio in football history, alongside Lionel Messi and Luis Suárez. MSN, Messi, Suárez, Neymar, as they became known, was absolutely devastating. In their first full season together, they scored an incredible 122 goals across all competitions. Barcelona won the treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Champions League. Neymar had 39 goals and 10 assists, proving he wasn't just a sideshow to Messi's brilliance. But being Messi's supporting actor was never going to be enough for Neymar. As the 2016-17 season ended, rumors began swirling. Paris Saint-Germain were preparing something unprecedented. They were willing to pay Neymar's release clause, an astronomical €222 million, making him the most expensive player in football history. On August 3, 2017, it became official. Neymar was a PSG player. Neymar said, "People ask me why I left Barcelona. The truth is, I needed to step out of Messi's shadow. I needed to prove I could be the main man, the player who leads a team to Champions League glory." Yet, would this record-breaking move deliver the success Neymar craved? Well, domestically, PSG were unstoppable. They won League One in 4 of Neymar's 5 full seasons. But in Europe, where it mattered most, heartbreak followed heartbreak. In 2019, Manchester United overturned a 2-0 first-leg deficit to eliminate PSG in the round of 16. In 2020, Bayern Munich denied them Champions League glory in the final. In 2021, Manchester City knocked them out in the semifinals. Neymar was inconsolable, 5 years in Paris, and still no Champions League. However, this disappointment was nothing compared to what was coming next. Throughout his career, Neymar had been plagued by injuries, ankle problems, back issues, groin strains. His body was breaking down under the pressure, playing at the highest level year after year. But in February 2023, during a routine League One match against Lille, disaster struck. As Neymar attempted to shield the ball from a defender, his left knee buckled. The diagnosis was devastating, a complete rupture of his ACL and meniscus. He would be out for at least 9 months, likely missing the entire remainder of the season. Yet, even before his return, something shocking happened. On August 15, 2023, while Neymar was still recovering from his injury, PSG announced they had reached an agreement with Saudi Arabian club Al Hilal for his transfer. The fee? A staggering €90 million, with Neymar set to earn over $100 million per year. At 31, many assumed this was Neymar's retirement contract, a final payday in the Saudi desert. But things didn't go according to plan. Neymar made his Al Hilal debut on September 15, 2023, and for a brief moment, it looked like he had found his spark again. He scored on his debut, and there were flashes of the old magic. However, on October 17, 2023, just 2 months into his Saudi adventure, tragedy struck again. During a World Cup qualifier for Brazil against Uruguay, Neymar's left knee, the same one he had injured at PSG, gave way once more. This time, the injury was even worse. Another complete ACL rupture, another complete meniscus tear. Doctors told him he would be out for at least a year, possibly longer. Neymar said, "I thought my career was over. I was 31. I had suffered 2 major injuries in the same knee, and I was playing in a league that nobody really cared about. I felt lost." But sometimes, when you hit rock bottom, the only way is up. Because on January 27, 2025, something incredible happened. Al Hilal announced that they had reached a mutual agreement to terminate Neymar's contract. The Brazilian forward walked away from $71 million in remaining wages, money he was contractually owed. Why would anyone do such a thing? Well, the answer was revealed just hours later. Santos FC, Neymar's boyhood club, announced they were in advanced negotiations to bring their prodigal son home. After 12 years away, after conquering Europe and experiencing the riches of Saudi Arabia, Neymar was coming back to where it all began. Santos president Marcelo Teixeira would confirm the signing with these emotional words. "This is more than just a football transfer. This is a son returning home. Neymar belongs at Santos, and Santos belongs to Neymar. Together, we will write a new chapter in this club's incredible history." Neymar is poised to sign a short 6-month contract with his boyhood club, Santos, marking an emotional return to the place where his remarkable journey in football began in 2009. But this wasn't just about nostalgia. Santos strengthens its squad for Serie A and targets the Copa Libertadores. The club had been relegated to Brazil's second division in 2023, the first time in their 111-year history. They needed a savior, and Neymar needed redemption. At 33 years old, After earning over $300 million throughout his career, after playing alongside the greatest players of his generation, Neymar made the most surprising decision of all. He chose love over money, heart over wealth, home over fortune. However, the critics remain skeptical. Can a player who has been out for over a year really make an impact? Can someone who has suffered two devastating knee injuries rediscover his old magic? Is this a genuine comeback attempt or just a publicity stunt? Well, Neymar has faced doubters his entire career. When he was 11 and people said he was too small. When he was 17 and people said he wasn't ready. When he was 21 and people said he couldn't succeed in Europe. Every single time, he proved them wrong. Neymar Jr. remained Brazil's all-time leading scorer with 79 goals. He came through the youth system at Santos and scored 136 goals in 225 games before his move to Barcelona. He has won 2 Champions Leagues, multiple domestic titles, and an Olympic gold medal. But perhaps his greatest victory is still to come. Because if Neymar can lead Santos back to the first division, if he can bring the Copa Libertadores back to the club of Pelé, if he can prove that sometimes the most valuable things in life can't be measured in dollars or euros, then this homecoming will be remembered as the most beautiful chapter in an already legendary story. However, to truly understand the weight of Neymar's decision to sacrifice millions and return home, we need to examine the moments that haunted him most, the World Cup campaigns that could have made him a legend. Because while Neymar conquered Europe's biggest clubs, there was one prize that always slipped through his fingers: World Cup glory with Brazil. The 2014 World Cup in Brazil was supposed to be Neymar's coronation. Playing on home soil, with an entire nation's hopes resting on his shoulders, everything seemed perfect. He scored 4 goals in 5 games, leading Brazil through the group stage and into the quarterfinals with breathtaking displays of skill. But then, disaster struck. In the quarterfinal against Colombia, while challenging for the ball, Neymar was kneed in the back by Juan Camilo Zuniga and had to be removed from the pitch on a stretcher. A hospital scan revealed that Neymar had suffered a fractured vertebra in his spine, ending his World Cup dream in the most devastating way possible. Yet, what happened next was even more crushing. Without their injured talisman Neymar, Brazil would ultimately lose in the semifinal in a stunning 7-1 defeat to eventual champion Germany. The entire nation watched in horror as their World Cup dreams crumbled without their star player. But 2018 would offer redemption, right? Well, Neymar was rushed back from injury just in time for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. However, his playing style was not quite the same. He appeared to be avoiding physical contact entirely rather than simply trying to draw fouls. Still, he managed to score 2 crucial goals, including one that made him Brazil's 3rd highest goal scorer of all time. Yet, heartbreak awaited once again. Brazil were eliminated after losing 2-1 against Belgium in the quarterfinals, with Neymar denied an injury-time equalizer by a fingertip save from Belgium goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois. However, nothing would compare to the devastation of 2022. Heading into the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, Neymar was arguably in the best form of his career, scoring 15 goals and providing 11 assists in just 20 games. Brazil were favorites to win the World Cup, and this tournament was touted to potentially be Neymar's crowning moment. Against Croatia in the quarterfinals, Neymar produced a moment of pure magic in extra time. He played 2 1-2s with his teammates before quickly finding himself in the box and going past the goalkeeper to score into the empty net. It was described by journalist Michael Cox as one of the greatest individual goals in football history. More importantly, it was Neymar's 77th international goal, which equaled Pelé's official goal tally for the national team. He had finally matched his idol's record. But football can be cruel. Brazil suffered a shock defeat, losing 4-2 in the ensuing penalty shootout, following a 1-1 draw after extra time. The most heartbreaking part? Neymar never got to take Brazil's final penalty. He was distraught on the pitch, overwhelmed with emotion, hinting that it could be his last game for Brazil. In a later social media post, he revealed the true extent of his pain. The defeat to Croatia psychologically destroyed me. It was a defeat that had affected me the most in my career, causing me to be paralyzed for 10 minutes after the match. This is the context that makes Neymar's return to Santos so significant. After 3 World Cups, after matching Pelé's goal record, after earning over $300 million, the one thing that mattered most, bringing the World Cup home to Brazil, had slipped away. Perhaps that's why walking away from $71 million suddenly made sense. Because sometimes, when you've lost the biggest prize of all, money becomes meaningless. The boy from Mogi Das Cruises left Santos as a teenager with dreams of conquering the world. He's returning as a man who discovered that sometimes the greatest conquest is simply coming home. By the way, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Neymar's return to Santos the perfect ending to his European adventure? Or do you think he should have stayed to fight for more Champions League glory? I'd love to hear your thoughts.